My mother didn't just kick me out of the house. She handed me a sentence. You have 48 hours to get your things out. This house belongs to your sister now. No warning, no explanation, no apology. Just one sentence. Sharp enough to cut right through me. I remember standing there, staring at her, waiting for the punchline that never came. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I just went quiet. And 2 days later, when my sister walked through that front door like she owned the place, because apparently she now did, she was about to learn something very important. Silence is not the same as surrender. I grew up in that house. Every creaking floorboard, every faded photo on the wall, every chipped corner of the wooden banister at the bottom of the stairs. To everyone else, it looked ordinary. Brick front, small garden, crooked mailbox my dad always promised to fix. But to me, it was a maze built out of expectations. Every morning sounded the same. The old coffee maker humming downstairs. The smell of lavender cleaner floating through the hallway. My mom pretending everything in this family was perfectly under control. I was the oldest daughter, which in my family didn't mean loved more. It meant unpaid assistant. Bills, me. Legal documents, me. Tax forms, me. Confusing letters in the mail, also me. I handle it, Megan. That became my role before. I was even old enough to understand half the paperwork they handed me. And then there was Chloe. My younger sister floated through life like glitter. Beautiful, loud, impossible to ignore. My mother adored her. My father bragged about her wellness business, like she was building an empire, even though most of it ran on borrowed money and fake confidence. Meanwhile, I stayed invisible, reliable, useful, replaceable. The house reflected it too. Chloe's bedroom was huge. Cream-colored walls, fancy curtains, custom furniture. Mine still had faded blue paint from middle school. But I never complained, because every time I did, my mother would sigh dramatically and ask why I couldn't just be happy for my sister. So I stopped talking. And maybe that's why none of them noticed how carefully I observed everything. The comments, the secret conversations, the paperwork disappearing from drawers. Looking back now, the signs were everywhere, and I should have realized much sooner. This wasn't sudden. It was planned. The first red flag was the language. My mom stopped calling it the family home. Suddenly it became our future investment. My dad kept talking about simplifying responsibilities. Funny thing was, simplifying always meant I handled more while Chloe handled less. Then Chloe started filming content inside the house. At first it was harmless. A few selfies in the kitchen, some wellness videos in the living room. But then she started saying things that made my stomach twist. One day, this whole place is going to be transformed. She said it like she already owned it. One night, I came home from work and walked into complete silence. My parents and Chloe were sitting at the kitchen table surrounded by papers. The moment they saw me, everything stopped. My mother folded documents too quickly. My father cleared his throat, and Chloe smiled way too hard. We're discussing possibilities, my mom said. Possibilities for what? I asked. She waved me off instantly. Adult stuff. Don't worry about it. Adult stuff. That phrase almost made me laugh, because for 12 years, I had been fixing every adult problem they created. Then the paperwork started appearing everywhere. Property tax forms, renovation plans, home valuation reports, and Chloe's handwriting all over them. One afternoon, I walked into the living room and found Chloe recording a video beside a giant mood board full of renovation ideas. She looked straight into the camera and smiled. This home has so much untapped potential. Home, not house. Home. When she finished filming, I crossed my arms. What exactly are you doing? She shrugged casually. Relax, Mac. You're way too emotionally attached to this place. It's Mom and Dad's house. She smiled. Is it? Those two words hit me harder than they should have. Because deep down, I suddenly realized I didn't actually know anymore. Then came the morning everything exploded. I walked downstairs, expecting the usual sounds. Coffee maker, dishes, lavender cleaner. Instead, I froze. All my belongings were stacked beside the front door in cardboard boxes. Every photo, every book, every piece of my life, packed up like trash waiting for pickup, and standing beside them. Chloe, holding a ring light, filming content. New beginnings, she chirped into her phone. Fresh energy. Exciting next chapters. Apparently my next chapter didn't include living there anymore. Then my mother walked out of the kitchen, completely calm. You have 48 hours to leave. This house belongs to your sister now. And somehow, I didn't break. I just stared at the boxes, then at Chloe's smile, and something inside me went cold. Because for the first time, I stopped trying to save this family and started trying to understand what they had done. Locked myself in my room and opened my laptop. If they wanted me gone, fine, but I wasn't leaving without answers. I started digging through every property file I had ever organized for my father. At first, nothing looked unusual. Then I noticed the dates, transfers, draft agreements, property discussions, and notes in my mother's handwriting. The deeper I looked, the worse it got. Chloe already had renovation contracts prepared, business partnership emails, monetization plans. She had built an entire future around that house before anyone even told me. I was being removed from it. That's when I realized something terrifying. This wasn't emotional. It was strategic. I photographed everything, downloaded every email, saved every file, one folder, one label, evidence. Legally, the house still belonged to my parents. But there were enough contradictions, enough questionable decisions, enough pressure points to create serious problems for them if they pushed this too far. For the first time in years, I didn't feel powerless. That evening, my mother knocked on my bedroom door. "You're overreacting," she said coldly. "This is what's best for the family." Family. The word sounded empty now. I didn't answer, because silence suddenly felt stronger than defending myself. 2 days later, Chloe walked into the house carrying folders and talking excitedly into her phone. "The transformation officially starts today." Then she saw me standing in the hallway. Her smile disappeared instantly. "Oh," she said, "you're still here." I stayed calm. "You really believe this house is yours?" "It is," she snapped. "Mom said so." "Mom said so," I repeated quietly. "Not the law." That's when my parents walked in. I reached into my bag and pulled out a thin folder. "Before anybody says another word," I said, "you should read this." Inside were printed property records, emails, legal notes, and one official confirmation. "Legally," I said calmly, "I am a registered occupant of this property. Removing me without proper legal procedure could qualify as unlawful eviction." The entire room went silent. Then, 3 knocks hit the front door. My father opened it. A woman in a navy blazer stood outside holding an envelope. She introduced herself professionally and explained that a formal property review had officially begun. Everything froze. All renovations suspended. All business activity paused. No changes allowed until the matter was resolved. Chloe went pale. "But I have investors coming tomorrow." I looked directly at her. "Then maybe tell them the truth." And just like that, her perfect little empire started collapsing. The next morning, Chloe's investors pulled out. The renovations stopped before they even began. And for the first time in her life, my sister looked scared. Not dramatic, not confident, not camera ready, just scared. Her carefully crafted online image started cracking almost immediately. The pastel vision boards, the fake confidence, the dream life content. People started asking questions she couldn't answer. Meanwhile, my parents barely spoke to me. Not because they were sorry, because they finally realized I wasn't powerless anymore. And that terrified them. Then 2 days later, I packed my things, Not because they forced me out. Because I chose to leave. I rented a tiny apartment across the city. Plain walls. Quiet rooms. No family tension soaked into every corner. And for the first time in years, I could breathe. Nobody handed me bills to fix. Nobody dumped legal paperwork on my desk. Nobody expected me to rescue them from consequences they created themselves. I was finally just me. Sometimes I still think about that house. The creaky stairs. The lavender smell. The girl who spent her entire life trying to earn a place. She should have never had to earn in the first place. But leaving didn't destroy me. It saved me. Because real freedom isn't winning the fight. It's realizing you no longer want to live inside it. Justice didn't come through revenge. It came through choosing myself. Quietly. Completely. Without apology. And sometimes, that's the loudest thing a person can do. If this story hit you hard, you already know why. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next story.